A very good morning to all of you. Would like to start in time, which is a practice of honoring those who have come in time. So this can be done in all the seminars which you conduct also, if you think that that's a wonderful thing. So we'll start with understanding how many of y'all have done some reading or Googled empathy in the last 1 week. Can you show your hands? Any of you who has looked at this subject of empathy after this was announced? You can put your hand, click that hand thing. Okay, now that means nobody has seen it. Earlier they might have seen, but not in the last period. Okay, all right. So one of the good practices of learning, whether it is for your classes or for any seminar, is to have a small glimpse or a short read on the subjects which are going to be dealt with. It makes us a bit more attentive and our participation in listening will be much higher. I will start with the coverage today. The coverage today is to understand what the term means. Then we look at what type of instances could be there. We also look at where this empathy stands among the various skills of leadership. And we also look at whether we can contemplate, reflect, and be able to have more empathy. Then there is some general info about which are the companies which are most sought after and what is the value which comes from being an empathetic company or a firm. We'll also look at towards the end what are the advantages and of course the most important will be the last part, which is how to build empathy. This session is going to be a bit interactive and I would like to ask you all to ensure that you also participate. Amresh, you can put yeah. Thanks for muting, Amresh. So this is the coverage today. This is what Mind Tools defines as. Mind Tools is a very powerful, what I would say, a site which gives a lot of inputs on how to improve ourselves. I've been using it for about 10 years. Lately, I've used some others, but this was what I had used initially. And I found that their daily articles and all were of great use to improve myself and grow. So I have taken directly from there. I have not tried to add or subtract anything. Hemant, can I ask you to read it? Hemant?
Sir, I'm on my way to office. 10 minutes I'll reach there.
Okay. Leave it then. So I will read it. I don't want to again test with one more person. Empathy is the ability to identify with and understand the wants, needs, and viewpoints of those around us. People with empathy are good at recognizing the feeling of others, even when those feelings may not be obvious. That means even if they don't say it. As a result, empathetic people are usually excellent at managing relationship, listening, and relating to others. They avoid stereotyping and judging too quickly, and they live their lives in a very open and honest manner. It doesn't mean that if you are low on empathy, you will be a bad person. It just means that you are not reaching your best potential. If you are already successful manager, partner, very good. But if you add empathy, then you will be even more empowered. Let's look at from your point of view. We have around 60 people on the call today. So can some of you raise your hand, and then we can look at when you can say that empathy is there. When can we be said to have empathy? I think the word be is missing. When can we be said to have empathy? From your own professional life, can you share briefly? Let it be interactive. Otherwise, this one-way traffic does not work. None of us think. We simply go around.
Madhukar sir, you can give one example at the beginning so that
No.
would
You
help
give.
others. No, I
Aap
am
de-
somewhere outside where
Even
I
then,
could.
I would like people to know, na. So nobody knows about empathy in the firm. It's not possible.
Sir,
Yeah.
empathy, according in my view, empathy means the reading the mind of people, understanding their feelings, even though those people are not able to express themselves very clearly, we can understanding their feelings. For example, if in
No,
case
no,
of our
1 minute, Mahesh. Can you read the slide? What it says? When can we be said to have empathy? Can you give an example from your professional life? The earlier slide we have explained what is empathy. I'm not asking what is empathy. I'm asking you for an example from your professional life where you can be said to have empathy for the other person, whoever it is, your employer, your boss, your junior, your peer, your client. Can you take one example, Mahesh?
sir, in case of our juniors, if they have some issues in their personal life or at their home, and if he is not able to
Oh,
give his 100% due to that particular issues in the office, then we can have understanding of that. We can understand that and we can cooperate him.
okay. All right. Very good. A very good example that even though that your team member has not expressed anything or told you, you have understood, or he might have shared also, but you have cared for him. Once he shares, you'll ask a few more questions. Kya hua? Kaise hua? Oh, very sad, or whatever. Yeah, I understand. It's a challenge for you. This is empathy. What Mahesh said. One good example he has given of team member, junior. Anybody else?
So Shilpi here.
Yeah,
Say your team member is just newly married. So
not
at
my team
least
member. Not my team member. Sorry,
uh,
your team member.
my team member.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Say my
Yeah,
team
this
member
is the
is
thing. No? We always want to improve others. We don't want to improve ourselves. Yeah,
so
please go ahead.
he's newly married. So we understand that he would not not send him too late to office from office, and tell him in advance that you plan what is there and ensure that you leave on time.
Wonderful.
He leaves on time. Sorry.
Yeah, wonderful. So actually there are two aspects which Shilpi has highlighted. Number one, first of all, we should not be leaving office late. Whatever the designated time, we should be leaving at that time. And in between, we should not be distracted and fritter away our time. Second, if your team member, junior, whoever it is, peer has recently got married, then give them some discount. After all, we all know it's a uh, very enjoyable part of that particular time, honeymoon period, they say. So what she's saying is at such time, don't hold him back, ensure that he goes in time. Even if he's sitting in office, say at whatever time beyond 5 minutes beyond time, and Shilpi sees him, she'll say, no, you please go, I will take care. Or somebody else will take care. You go home. So that is empathy. Very good. Anything else? We are actually trying to look at client. So if you can tell us from client side. Yeah, somebody is here, but I can't make out who it is. How can I make out who it is? No, I can't make out. Nikita, please.
Sir, but it was not from client's perspective. It was
Okay,
from
tell.
So when sometimes our colleagues or our partners, anybody, junior, senior, have to, I would say, reschedule something. So in that case, sometimes it messes up with our own schedule, but then we have to understand or empathize with them that they might have a good enough reason for doing that, and then we should not be hung up on it or something. Then we should try and reschedule our schedule also so as to accommodate them.
Yes, yeah. You should put yourself in their shoes, what Nikita is saying, and accommodate if possible. If it's not possible, then you'll have to, of course, look at something else. Good. I am going to go further from this to look at what are the skills which all of us who want to be extraordinary leaders, we should have. So I think there are some who have to mute themselves. Yeah. So what are those skills for extraordinary leaders? And I am going to link it to empathy. First is that, over a period of time, the world is keeping on changing. And in this pandemic time, it has made people more and more independent, I would say, because we were not allowed to mix up. It was difficult to get together physically for meeting up. So it required a much higher level of understanding each other. Slowly, in the initial stages, we had thought that knowledge is the key, and it is the key for us because we are specialized, we are niche practitioners. Therefore, knowledge is the key. Depth of knowledge will be the number one item as far as we are concerned. The second item earlier, for many years, decades, I would say, was communication and presentation skills. In the last 1 or 2, you can say last 5 years, and especially in this pandemic period, suddenly we find that people have become more and more, you can say, smaller units, and therefore individual coaching has become very important. Otherwise, with team members remotely located, you may not know what challenges they are going through. When they are coming to office, you see them every day. If there is a problem, then immediately you are able to make out because of their what I would say behavior, etc. That something is wrong. Like Nikita was saying, not Nikita, I think the first person, Mahesh, where you see that they are little disturbed, then you can make out and then call them, have a one-to-one, find out what are their challenges. Not that you are going to be able to solve all their challenges. 90% of the challenges which anybody faces, they have to solve it, but we can guide them a bit. And therefore, today, after I would say knowledge, for us as a professional firm, the most important skill is to coach ourselves. How can I coach myself? I can check out what are my strengths, what are my areas of improvement, and then focus on those to coach myself. Enough of information, free videos, paid videos, classes are available. So we can easily learn ourselves, and we have to ensure that our people also learn. Very important skill which has come up as a top level skill. Of course, the second most important skill is effective and persuasive communication. If I look at the first skill also, coaching, without empathy, you can't coach anybody. Even you can't coach yourself. Empathy is for yourself also could be there. Compassion for yourself, not beating yourself up, thinking of yourself also as a great guy or girl, and giving yourself, accepting yourself as you are. Remember, every one of us who comes into this world is complete. None of us is deficient. We add deficiency on the way because of some incidents which happen with friends, relatives, parents, brothers, sisters, where we feel that we are inadequate, we are not loved. All these are stories. What happened is something else. What story we made is something else. I think I had also put up something on this on my personal life. Those of you who have missed it can look at it from that point of view. Effective and persuasive communication is most important. What I say, what I want to say should land the way I meant to the other side. Very, very important. 3000 years back, Aristotle talked about 3 components of communication, whatever communication it is, one-to-one communication, 1-to-4 communication, seminar, online seminars, anything it can apply to. This gentleman was a brilliant mind. And what he said is that before you communicate, understand the other side. That is, if I am speaking to Ashish, then I should take a minute to understand where Ashish is. For example, today I asked him to share, but he has told me that he will be traveling and he will be leaving home at 7 going to a client's place. But maybe I didn't have enough empathy and I asked him to tell. I should have asked somebody else. So this is, if I had thought for some time, I would have realized that he's on the way. It will be difficult for him. He doesn't have a laptop with him. I should have understood that and not asked that question. Aristotle says, know your audience. Do some research if required. If it is a client, then you might have to do some further study to come to know. So effective and persuasive communication is the second biggest skill which is required for any professional. And for that also empathy is required because you have to understand the other side. Let's look at from the client's point of view. Ashid had asked me to give some examples. So I have put 3 things. First is inquiry and response. See, many of the times we are consulting, we are advising, we are giving assistance in filing returns, we are conducting an audit, but we require a lot of information. So when I am having this coordination with the client or client's team, the first and very important aspect is that when you go, you have to spend 5-10 minutes acknowledging them for what they are doing for us, what they are doing for the company, their company. This is a wonderful way of starting. And for that you'll have to think, what is it they have done? It cannot be some, false things. We cannot talk falsely. Whatever you say should be genuine and real. If you don't know, then you can only tell something generally, which does not have as good an impact if it is specific. For example, you can tell them, thank you very much for, coordinating with us and, supporting us to come here. We know that you all are quite busy and company is also, turnover of the company is rising. There are a lot of challenges you have. Thank you for supporting us. This particular conversation right in the beginning will not be unheard. And you will find one few notches, the openness to you will increase. Sometimes they will have some needs. For example, a client, there is a offer you have raised, but in the offer you have said what you'll do, what you will not do. You have also told what the client will do. But you don't know whether the client has understood this, because the person who interacts with you will not be the person who signs your appointment. That person will be the CFO, vice president, somebody who might not have shared the document with them. Share the document with them. Tell them that this is what we are doing with you. This is what we have offered and your management has agreed. This is our scope of work. This is the scope of work of the company. Why are you doing this? So that there is no confusion. Otherwise, they think that you are supposed to do A, B, C, D, E, F, whereas you know you have to do only C and F. So there will be a meeting of mind. In case there is something which is orally said, then restate it for clarity in case you find any confusion. There are some people who are in a hurry. Just stop them for a moment. Sir, 1 minute. This is what you want, right? Makes a lot of sense. Scope I have already talked to you. When you want any additional documents, then also a lot of empathy is required. You can't direct anybody in life. You have seen in your life itself, you can't direct your mother, neither parents. Parents cannot direct the children nowadays. That is something which has happened in the last 20 years. You can't direct your brother, you can't direct your colleague. Then how can you direct the client or the client's employees? Direction is gone out of the vocabulary today. You have to be polite, request. Tell them why it is important, what you are asking. This is important because you would be wanting us to complete the job early so that you can continue with your busy life. Now there is something for that other person in it. This is empathy. Looking at their problems, what is it that they are having problems with? And trying to reach it. If I were to say, one of the things we have to always be very clear is what is the expectation of the client, and we need to give a bit more. In fact, the celebrities or the legends who are there in this world, whoever it is, we think that they are all smart people, they are born with smartness, but you know that is not true. You know that all these people who started in garages are what level they are. We know that all these people, they were not born with some, skill or talent. Something happened, they made a decision, they put good habits in place and became extraordinary achievers. Whether it's Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, you look at any of them, you will find that none of them were any different from you or me. In fact, we might have been born into the better houses, so we have a better chance. So can we deliver more? That is something which achievers always look at. I give or I provide value much more than I take back. Whether it is to the organization, whether it's to the client, whether it's to your friend, you always be the net giver rather than the net taker. Remember, it doesn't mean giver means he gives all the time only, nor is taker the person who takes all the time. Only the proportions vary. It is said that these are the people who get the most success for any assignment given. The matchers, they are called. They match it. I would say they match it, but they are more the givers than the takers. These are the most successful group of people in this world. One more point is we have to understand that clients are having a problem. Once you come do the audit and go, they have 100 other problems which they immediately immerse themselves in. They may or may not look at your report, or they may see it off and on, but they may not apply their mind on it because they are busy. Can we ensure that this report is, even after our discussion with them, can we see that it is followed up? Very, very important to see that it's followed up. And if there are any problems, what are the challenges in implementation? Ask them. See if you can suggest ways and means for them to overcome those challenges and take advantage of the advice you have given. If I don't care for them whether they take our advice and actually work it, then actually my work which I have done is not reaching the fruit stage. It is just becoming some advice given, not listened to. Any assignment, any communication, can start with acknowledgement. Whatever email you send, whatever letters you send, whatever reports you send can start with a small acknowledgement and also end up with with the gratefulness for opportunity to serve. Every client who calls us, it's not that we are walking in because we are some great guys. They perceive us as people who can deliver value or independent opinion. Whatever the reason they have come to us, validate their thought process, they call us. But it's an opportunity because they are paying us for whatever they call us for. Therefore, it is our bounden duty to thank them for the opportunity to serve them. Not that in every SMS, every mail you are going to mention, but at least towards the end, somewhere in between, when you find that there is some resistance, they seem to be very busy, you want to get them on your side. That's the time when you should acknowledge them for what they are. In spite of your busy schedule, thank you for picking up my call. In spite of the fact that the client may not have picked up your call twice, but you send him a mail like this, next time onwards you see, he will never miss your call. Never. Unless, of course, he just cannot pick up. So this acknowledgement is something which is very great in life. In fact, nowadays they say one of the empowering ways of living life powerfully, life, not only profession, life powerfully, is by looking at what you need to be grateful for what is the situation today, what is the circumstance today, who are the people with whom you are interacting. Each of them you can be grateful for. Even if you have an enemy, you will find that you can find 5 things you can be grateful to that enemy for. You might have to think a little more. You may not like to do it. And let me tell you, making enemies not enemies, empathy is a very big tool. The moment you put yourself in their shoes, you come to know why they might have done whatever they did to hurt you. Then the hurt becomes less. You understand the hurt. You are in a position where you can forgive. People who carry hurt, who do not, who carry hurt, regret, complaints on people are like people who are drinking poison and wanting the other person to fall ill. I'm repeating, whenever you carry hurt, anger, regret about another person, you are drinking poison. The other person is not affected by what you are thinking, but you are affected, no? Until you get that hurt out, you will be having all the negative impacts of that. And therefore, I would say that this type of empathy, if you have, you can easily forgive. Some accountant is there in your client's place, very rough and tough. Just speak to them a couple of times properly. Mail him, acknowledging him for what he is. Look at the good things. He may have 20 characteristics which you don't like, but there'll be 3 which are okay or which are good. Acknowledge him for that. Put it on record. See that you take that only. I think Mahadev has said something. Mahadev, can you share? I can't read it. Unfortunately, somebody else has to read it.
Yeah, I was giving some examples for this client empathy at client places.
Yes, please.
Yeah, one is keeping these files in order. So many a times what happens is we'll do the verification, then keep the files on the chairs, or it will not be in a proper order. So that is something which we can take care. Then the chairs in a proper way. It was there when we started the audit. Then switching off the lights is something. So though all this looks very small, this is something which we experienced maybe 7 years ago, when client specifically told us that this is one of the quality which auditors or anybody should have. In whatever form it was given, you should keep it in that same order. So these are the few examples which I wanted to share.
Yes, yes, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks. So
yeah,
where
one more was, sorry. One more was before asking the client for the information, we should always make sure that we don't have that information. Otherwise, what happens? Our junior would have already taken the information. Again, senior will be asking. So client may get irritated when we repeatedly ask the same information. So it could be for the new audits or it could be for repeated audits, because in the previous audits you would have collected a lot of information already. So that is something which we need to take care, wherein we can save the time for the client and ourselves. So even client will be happy that we have done some homework before we start the audit.
Right. What Mahadev is emphasizing is don't waste your client's time. If you can take a little time to do a research on yourself, you can look at the client profile, look at the old audit report. If it's a new client, look at the industry properly, understand his business. If you look at the case laws which you have in Excus or TOIL, you can find out in that industry what are the problems. You can go to the net and find out what are the industry problems. For example, he's from the hospitality industry. There are so many associations and chambers of the hospitality. Go to them and go to those sites and look at what are the problems, how they are planning to solve it. These are all things which make the client respect you, because he or she sees that you have done a lot of work and you're not wasting their time. And for them, interacting with you is a big pleasure. Rather than a job for them, they would love to give you some time and explain, because they know that you have already done quite a lot of work. And while discussing with them, they will get also enhanced. Though they are from that industry, they will also get some inputs which are useful. Whenever we are doing all this, look at the bigger picture. Okay, always look from the bird's eye view also, especially when you are dealing with clients. Don't look at them in isolation. They have vendors who may or may not be compliant. They may have very demanding customers. Customer forces them to do things which are not in line with the law. We have seen this in many of the GST valuation cases or supply cases, claim of incorrect exemption. All this is forced by the customer. But we have to understand, we have to empathize with them. We have to tell them, yes, this is there, but this is the problem which will happen. Everything requires empathy at this stage.
So there is something.
Yes. How is it that I am not able to see all this? Okay, Sudhir.
Yes, sir.
Sudhir, please.
One of the things on empathy, sir. Generally, with the accountants of the clients, we generally push for information. We actually do not try to understand as to what are all activities he is in what. Maybe that particular day he has been dumped with some 20 activities. He has to go to the bank. He has to meet some income tax notice deadlines. Many things may be going on his head, but we keep on pressurizing for data from our end, not actually looking at the what position the accountant is in. So maybe spending some 2 minutes initially asking him how is your schedule, what are all the activities, and then look at okay, I understand that a lot of things are there, but instead of giving these 10 items today, if you can squeeze out and give me only one item, I'll manage for today, and tomorrow you can spend more time for giving the other 9 items.
Correct.
That's
the last slide, Sudhir. That's the last slide I am asking that. I think I have covered your position. Sorry. Because I have not shared the PPT earlier because it's supposed to be interactive, so I didn't share it. Otherwise, you would have known. No problem. Thanks for that. I think that is one of the top things which I have written also. That we have to understand what the clients are dealing with, speaking to him nicely, finding out a little about his family, other things, and remembering it, talking to them. Then you will find, even with all his challenges, he will take that extra effort to take care of you, because you are taking care of him. He will take care of you. Anyway, that we will come to a bit later. So indications, sometimes we think that we have empathy. Many of us think that we have empathy. We think that we are very reasonable, we are very fair. Many times we find that there have to be some questions asked to ourselves. Like I had written an article on, procrastination. I would like to know how many of y'all have read it. Can you just raise your hand if you have read that article fully, not partially, fully? There was a letter, there's an article written on procrastination, which is a professional empowerment article. I had put it on our site, our email also. It's there in our site, and I'd also put it on various websites. How many of you have read that article in full? Can you just raise your hand? So I can make out here, I think. No, how many hands are raised? Can you raise your hand, please? We'll finish it in 30 seconds. Sudhir has read, or this is earlier hand risen. Nobody has read. Okay.
8 hands. Sir.
8 hands are up. Very good.
10
right.
now.
Okay.
10.
All right, good. How can you make out this, Mahadev? I'm not able to make out, so I'm asking you. Anyway, maybe after this class, I will ask you that. So it's good. How many the people who have read? Can I ask Rajesh? What do you think was the learning you got from that which helped you? Rajesh Madhi.
Sir, few things will postpone, like
He or you?
Like everyone, sir.
Not everyone. This is not about everyone. Do you do it or you don't do it?
Yeah, I'll also do it, sir.
No, also not required. I do it. In my
I
article
do
itself, I have said that I do it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So,
I is the most important in whenever we want to say something, we have to be brave enough and courageous enough to say that I do it. Now, none of us are perfect, and there is hardly anybody in this world who doesn't do it. So what is the plus you got?
Few things, few important things I had changed in my life. Like after reading that article, few things earlier I used to think that okay, we'll do it day after tomorrow and all. So after reading that article, at least not 100%, maybe around 30% or 40%. So I'm doing on the same day or same time. The time when I think I should do it, so I'm completing that time itself.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, good. I just wanted to let people know it is such an important article. It can make a difference in each and every person's life. So, and also fill up that form. You will come to know where you are, lacking. That form, in that we have a form which indicates to you whether you are procrastinating, what extent you are procrastinating. There is something in that form which helps to understand and be aware that I am procrastinating. Similarly, here I have put a few questions which you can ask yourself. You don't have to answer this. Please introspect and from your experience in dealing with clients, suggest what could be the situation which suggests that we need to improve our empathy. Okay, for that instances I'm giving what Ashish had asked in the initial stage. He had asked me, client not keeping his word to provide, or he says I am ready, come anytime, but actually he will not be ready. Client not ready with information, lying about, asking you when you are postponing the scheduled work. He's, pushing it forward. He will say, no, today I'm busy, you come day after tomorrow. This type of things. Can we look at any other situation where we are unable to take it? We get angry, we get upset. Any situation where we are upset or angry with the client. Can you suggest what the client does because of which we are angry? Anybody? Audit leaders should especially be able to look at this,
One more could be change in information. So today he will give some information. Tomorrow again he will say that working was not proper.
Yes, this could be a reason where we get upset and we think this man not having integrity. How will we rely on him? Very good. Any other situation? Giving wrong files. Sometimes they even do it purposely so that you will get confused. They'll give a lot of files. Some of them will be irrelevant. You will start searching in that.
Sir, many times we would have asked data from the client, but they would have not provided. But in the meetings and all, they'll tell because we didn't do, that's why they missed or something. But we would have followed up for the same thing quite a lot of times.
Correct. Yes, that is also
We'll be
something.
helpless. But we can't tell that client on straight away there you didn't provide, that's why we couldn't do.
Correct. Remember, whenever we point a finger at somebody, the client is pointing a finger at us actually. There are 2-3 fingers which are pointing towards him. But this is a normal way of being for people who are not leaders. They want to blame somebody else. They want to give excuses for things which are not done. This is the way victims behave. In fact, yesterday or day before, I have put up one small article on that also. Victim versus leader. So you'll have to decide whether, even if you are an article, first year, second year, third year, you are a partner or you are a qualified, you're team leader, no difference. You have to decide whether you want to be a victim or you want to be a leader. If you want to be a leader, then you cannot take that blaming, complaining route at all. Not only because it looks bad, but as a extraordinary leader, what you want to be, you should take accountability that maybe I didn't do something which was required, such that the client would have not done this, not blamed us. Maybe we were not empathetic to the client. Maybe we made some remarks against him. We don't know. Somewhere what we do is never seen. What they do only is seen. So what Rashmi said is correct. Many times the client will point a finger at us, but this is the point where you should see what is it that I missed to do that he is pointing a finger at me. And maybe later you have to see to mend the, mend it. Now that particular person, you can be angry with him and leave the audit and then tell everybody this guy Madhukar, terrible fellow. Last time he did this, he didn't give the files and then he blamed me. Instead of that, maybe you can meet me and tell me, I think we have not, I made a few mistakes. Maybe I didn't understand what you had, where you are coming from. Now I understand that you had this difficulty. Sorry that I was not fair with you. Whatever you want to say. Remember, not false. Nothing you say should be false. But at the same time, nothing wrong in saying sorry. And maybe he will also say sorry and never do it again. Possible. Very important for us to understand that if we are getting angry, upset, not getting the work done, when somebody tells me that client is not giving the information, I ask them, please send me the reminder which you have given to the client. If you read that reminder mail, it is like firing, shooting that fellow, poor fellow. After all, we work for his bosses and we are shooting the junior. Why we cannot say that we understand you are busy, thank you for all the support you have given in the audit or for the assignment, and then we ask him very clearly what we want. Sometimes we are not clear. Please refer to the earlier mail. You think anybody will refer to earlier mail in which there is an annexure which he will refer to and come back to you? May not be possible. Some of these things will be very useful for us, which will indicate that we are not being really empathetic. So the first stage for all of us to understand is where all I, Madhukar, am not empathetic to my clients. For example, I have not been very empathetic to the staff. To the extent I am empathetic to the clients, I might not have been empathetic to the staff. This is something which when I was going through this empathy thing, I realized that there are a lot of other areas I am not empathetic. I might not be empathetic with my relatives at all. Zero. My staff are far better off. So first I have to realize where I am not empathetic, to the extent I am not empathetic. Then I can improve myself, correct myself. Let's look at some of the other times when it is indicating this, that I am not having empathy. In my tone, there is a lot of, in my tone. First is I'm telling you still haven't given me that file. Are you getting what it is? You're not asking him, can you please give the file? Yesterday also I had reminded. It's different from saying you're still not given me my file. Now I am blaming him. I am making him wrong. One. Second is the way I say it, the tone of the communication. How is the tone? Have I put myself in his shoes before using that particular tone on that client? Like Sudhir said, have I understood his and her challenges? Can I preempt their need? They have some needs. Last time when I had come, he had said something, and before I went for the audit, I sent him this, Last time when he had come, he had said, I'm not very clear about this particular procedure. So I sent him the procedure. After that, I just checked up with him whether he understood everything. Next time you go, there'll be a big smile on that person's face when he sees you. Because you remembered him, you've taken care of him, not at the time of audit, but even after that. Directing is something nobody likes. Neither I like nor you like. At the time when you are a student or an article or you have come to learn, maybe direction can be taken. But for an employee of our client, he is not in any mood to take direction. He's taking direction from too many people. And especially from some youngster, he may feel some resistance to taking direction. Can you provide some alternatives? Sir, can we do this or this? What do you think? He'll say we can do this. That will be the right thing only. What you wanted to say. You say yes, that's a wonderful idea. Can you look at what impact this will have? That person will put it in place because it is not you who have told him, it's his choice which he is going to do. Are we judgmental? This fellow is a duffer. This fellow is lazy. Whatever I say somebody else is, if I introspect, I'll find I am that to some extent. If I am thinking that Sudhir is lazy, then I have to look at myself. The moment I get the thought that Sudhir is lazy, I should think where all I am lazy. Then that thought will go away because I am much lazier than him. I know wherever I am lazy. So let us not be judgmental to the extent possible. Remember, all of us are human beings. There will be some thought process which will go in the mind. Whenever it is adverse judgments you are passing, presumptions and assumptions, put some check on that. I am not very great at this. Let me also frankly tell you, but here I am not the logic says, logic is a subject which we used to have in CA. It used to say that even if you are making the same mistake, you can advise others. So luckily I am taking that example for being a bit judgmental and still advising you not to be. Are we supporting the knowledge gaps of the staff of the client? If he doesn't have some knowledge, can we take some time, 10 minutes, and explain a concept to him? Tell him this is an article which is available. I'll send it to you. He may not read the article, but the fact that you have sent it to him will make him feel nice about you. Are we taking hard feedback? This is very important for professionals. Somewhere many of us are not big enough to ask for genuine feedback. Even at the top level. We don't want the feedback because the client may say something wrong. So we have to ask wherever we suspect that our service is a little short, not as good as the other things I'm doing. I should ask how I can improve there. If you ask him, if you give him a paper and tell him, sir, since we are finishing the audit, I would like to take your feedback. He will say everything is fine. So you should be very, very clear that, sir, I hope we have added some value to you in this audit. Yeah. You helped these people, you did this, you did that. All. Thank you very much, sir. I also want a small favor from you. Can you critically tell me where I can improve in the following areas? You already have an idea where you may be, a bit short. Then he may say, this is there, that is there. He may be encouraged to give you genuine feedback. Feedback is one of the best ways of improving ourselves. Many times when we get feedback, we give reasons why that feedback is wrong. That is a totally unprofessional way of looking at feedback. Whatever the feedback given from client, in my understanding, it is 100% correct. Look at it. You are lucky that you have a client who is giving you genuine feedback. There are those people who will do aarti to you. I am not interested in them in real sense for improving myself. It will not improve me when somebody does aarti, which is not deserved. Genuine compliments, welcome, not otherwise. So these are also some things which, if I'm not taking feedback, it means I may not have empathy at all. Or I am taking feedback for the sake of a tick box. There is a box which says you should take feedback, so I go for taking feedback. If you look at this is just an understanding. Empathy ranking out of 170 companies across the world, and you will find LinkedIn is there, Facebook is number 2, Alphabet is there, Alphabet is Microsoft I think, Nike, Audi. In Indian companies you have ITC, you have Infosys and Tata Motors. How is this ranking coming? This ranking is coming out of them who listen and respond to customers' complaint quickly and resolve it. They preempt the needs of the customer. What all problems this customer may have, they preempt it. Their staff are super empowered. And the valuation of these companies, Google, for example, I think Alphabet is Google, right? Google is 1 trillion. Microsoft is 79 billion. And they also attract the best people, the smartest, the most creative people go and join these companies. Why? Because they have the highest empathy ranking. One of the reasons, it could be salary and other things also. But today, in today's world, salary is becoming subservient to other incentives or present, what I could say, conditions which are there in the employment place. Can we look at a few best practices? It can start with anybody. Maybe the consultancy can tell us, then we can look at others. 2 or 3. From inquiry till end of assignment, what could be the example of a best empathetic practice? Whether you're doing it or not is not important. What you think is the best empathetic practice you can share, please. Anybody from consultancy? Rupa is there?
Rupa ma'am is in a different session, sir. I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
So one which is best practice is after sending the draft, probably within 2 or 3 days, call up the client and check with him as to whether he has been able to go through, and if he would like to, if he would like me to go through the document along with him if he's not able to find time.
Wonderful. Very good. Otherwise, actually, it is an existential question. Why are we doing what we are doing? If the client is only going to file it, then I don't have to spend so much time on that particular document. So very good, Mayank. Good example. Any other person? One more.
Sir, this name. Whenever a client came to us, understand his pain point, why he has came to us, whether he has received any notice from any department, or whether his computer is charging any lower rate, or what sort of a clarification he want, something like this. Understand his background before pushing into the questions.
Correct. Don't have assumptions. Listen to him. Find out. Sometimes they won't even mention it. If you go back to the definition of empathy, even if that person doesn't say, you should feel something is wrong. You can ask him, did the officer, you'll find some clients will be there when they're talking about the officer, they get little agitated, their eyes start having little water and all. This means it is a pain point, what Hemant is talking about. Then you can ask him, oh, you did the officer mistreat you, speak to you rudely? You say, yes, sir, horrible persons. I don't know why they are like this, that and all. Listen to him. You are not able to solve. Can you solve that problem? Can you change the officer? No. But listening is in your hand. And then tell him in one line. You can also add in your reply. Say you are giving a reply. You can add one line that it is also felt that officers can be a little more gentlemanly and polite. That's all. You are not saying anything, but you have said enough. Client will be delighted with you. Finally, his boss may say, what is this line? Remove it. But client is very happy with you. That boy, the accountant who has come to you, very happy with you. I'll go ahead because time is short and we have to cover a little more. What could be other advantages? Here I will not ask for your inputs. Client would cooperate and you would get your information faster, support faster. Your work can be done in more complete manner rather than leaving out so many things and putting it as limitations. They can also refer us more work because you're such a nice guy. While you are a professional, while you are independent, you are also a nice boy or nice person to deal with, boy or girl. They may also give us more work. They'll think of us more often. So if you are already doing work, but the accountant finds that you are always, finding fault with him, shooting him always, when some other work comes, he might like to give it to somebody else. Or why give it to H&A? But if you are very nice with them, I'm not saying you should be nice to get work. You have to be independent, but at the same time need not rub people. If you are empathetic with people, automatically they will prefer you to anybody else because 99% of the people in this world are terribly selfish and they behave selfishly also. All of us are selfish to some extent. Since we value him, he will value us. This is not only for employees, clients, employees or clients. We could extend it to our team, our juniors, and you will find you will be much more effective. And the objective for all of us is to grow. Remember, we came to this earth. Each of us is unique. And as per Robin Sharma, each of us has something which he can do the best in the world. Only thing we should be interested in doing it and focus on it and spend time on it, enjoy doing it, and then you will find you become number one in that. Maybe first you start with being number one in the city, then you look at number one in the state, number one in the country, number one in Asia, maybe number one in the world. At present, our firm is looking at becoming number one in India. You also will find that when you are empathetic, people will not disparage your profession. When you say something against me, then I will say the other day some chartered accountants got arrested. Now this information known to you, known to me, but I normally will not tell you because you are a chartered accountant and you have hurt me. I'm telling you now. Then you get into defensive. No, there are some people like that. We are not like that and all that. But if you are empathetic with me, I will never ever harm or hurt you or try to do that. Did you get this? Many times we have seen. It's also a wonderful contribution when you are empathetic, because when you are empathetic, the other side becomes empathetic. Your team becomes empathetic. And being empathetic can make everybody happy and do their work. Doesn't mean that you're going to overlook not doing, somebody cannot get away with, murder by because you are empathetic. You can always be firm and empathetic. Last slide I am taking. After this, I will leave a little time for all of you to add if there's something I have missed. Can I smile and show respect to all my clients personally? Very, very important. Can I smile first? Why do I scowl? Why do I ignore them? Can I build rapport and acknowledge their importance? Very important. This actually, the last part of it, my daughter told me, because probably I have not, acknowledged her importance. So when I sent this PPT to her, she was able to add this. Can I own their problem while being independent and professional? Can I sit in his shoes, imagine his challenges, limitations, priorities? Sudhir had talked about this. Client is the reason we are here. Is this premise acceptable to all of us? I am unable to take answers for each, but I think each of us should, in our mind, we should say, Yes, no, maybe for each of these. Client provides us a facility to grow. If the client is not there, his challenges are not there, I will not grow as a professional to that extent. Is this true? I can change my responses even if that response will not change the client. Remember in life, what that Gandhiji is saying, even on this t-shirt which I am wearing behind, what does it say? Anybody remembers what is said on this blue t-shirt backside? Mahatma Gandhi said that. Anybody can repeat?
Be the change you want to see.
In others. Very important. So let me be that even if the client is not that. Can I listen deeply without distraction? When the client is talking to me, I am looking at my messages, or there is a notification immediately. I am looking for a second there and again looking at the client. Does this show that I'm listening deeply? Maybe I need to ensure notifications are not, loud. Number one. Number two, especially if I'm having a talk with some client, I should take his permission if I get a call. Or I can always, look at who is calling and put it off. Tell them I'll call back. You have these messages which you can give, or you can call them back. People like me, I don't know how to send message, so I just ensure that the ringing stops and then I speak to them. Can I see that the client owns the solution so that it will empower him, empower me, and on the whole, company will benefit. One aspect which I learned in this 66-day program I did with Robin Sharma is that our beliefs are the basis on which we can change our habits, and our habits determine how we go through life, whether we go through life as leaders, extraordinary leaders, legends. Each person who wants to achieve something has to give up something. So it's not something which will come by just wishing and thinking. You have to say, now I am a tough guy, but I need to build empathy. Somebody using phone and not muted. Okay. The last slide, I think this is the last slide. Can I draft a mail calling them to action rather than just telling them to go somewhere else? Like our websites, I see. I can't find an article which I want without difficulty. Whereas you go to any other website, we see you 2 clicks, 3 clicks, you are in where you want to go. We've got such a lot of massive amount of information on our website, which no indirect tax firm can, even the big four cannot boast of that sort of information available for the public in indirect tax. They may have in many other areas, which are far superior to us also. Can I have a mail which calls them to action? When I communicate with them, can I say that I have called you 10 times? I have also sent you 5 I have, sent you 3 mails. There's no action from your side. Please provide the required information. Now the client doesn't know which information. Can I give him briefly? Can I give him the link? Can I reattach that particular annexure? Make sure that you are looking at be specific in your communication rather than give them a means to arrive at the solution, because they don't have time. They will ignore that mail also. As I said earlier, opportunity we talked about, support. When you start the mail or start the communication with the client, you go for the audit. First time the client, client is coming for a repeat time. Thank you for thinking of us again. Nothing goes. It takes 10 seconds. You're building empathy. Is my communication clear, or is it just enough to get by saying that I have told the client this? Can I confirm that I am here because of them? And there could be some more. So I will spend maybe 10 minutes on some more, then we will try and close out. Consistency in our client service with value addition would delight any client. So can I look at how we can build empathy other than what we have spoken about? Sudhir, anything to add? Sorry, I had cut you off in the starting. Or anybody, not only Sudhir. Sudhir might not be there. Anybody? Anil? Anil always comes out with some, very deep thoughts. Akshay? Anybody? I don't know. Maybe they are not there or they are on their mobile.
Sir, Akshay is on call. He'll come back in 1 minute.
You can give if you have any idea. Okay, put it off. Put it off. We can hear him now talking. Put it off. Anybody? One or two? Then we'll close. We'll stop after we get 3 responses from anybody on what all I have said is only whatever is the limitation of my thought process. Anything which we can display our empathy or how we can build empathy, whether in mails or communication or otherwise. Nobody? Partners? Who are the partner? Lakshman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you give
sir,
any?
Sir, I want to give. Yes, sir. I want to give one example, sir. Generally, many small businesses are receiving notices with huge penalties. They are demanding amount along with interest and penalties. In many cases, those small business person are very worried about the interest and penalties. And whenever they come to us, it is better if they may not be knowing the statutory provisions, whether they are actually liable for the penalties and interest. But if they come to us, it is better if we explain them the statutory provisions, and if we explain whether that liability is there or not, and if we reduce their worries, then I think this we can look into, sir. This we can do.
Yeah, very good, very good. Anybody else?
Sir,
yeah. Ashish. Actually, Ashish was supposed to be joined. He was the main person to give all his expert comments. I am only the regular speaker. Because Ashish, I want to say something, Ashish. Ashish's connection with clients is excellent. He has huge empathy. Yeah, Ashish, please go ahead.
So, sir, a couple of aspects what I want to put across is it is not what you keep it on record or how do you express it by word. The best way of empathy is to actually inculcate that habit in your thought process, in your nature, where you care about others, you feel what pain they are feeling, you try to understand if you are at their position, how you might have felt it. And once you start feeling that thing in yourself, then you need not be having any formal, you need not have any formal communication, any formal exchange. Just be in any of your phone call with the client, while you are at the client place, while you are with your senior, junior, your way of speaking, tone, your facial expression, all those things will itself show that you are having empathy with them, there to somewhat reduce their problem. You are there to give solution. You are there to support them in what best way you can do. So it is a habit what we need to inculcate within ourselves. And once we inculcate many of these things, what for which we may have to put a special effort, no special effort would be required. Everything will come automatically out of your own. So this is what I would say in terms of my experience or the practice what I follow. So that could summarize everything what I wanted to say, sir.
Thanks a lot, Ashish. Anybody else wants to share? We will take it. Otherwise, we'll close the session. I think I have taken 10 minutes extra.
Sir, I have one.
Yes.
With the permission, sir, I would like to give an example in my past organization, like what practices we follow.
You'll have to be brief, Sushil.
It is like,
yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. So, like when we do audit, like sometimes we come across there is a lot of gap in a reconciliation in terms of the materials or the larger, class 8, items. So then, like, the person who is responsible gets worried because it is found during audit. Had it been found otherwise, he would have spent the same amount, I mean, good amount of time. And even though the worry is, I mean, the problem is same, but his worry is not that much. But during audit, if you find something, he feels really like upset and everything. So then what, instead of we asking him to solve the problem, we join him in solving the problem. So to find out really what the root cause is. So this also helps him to understand that we are also with him. We are here to improve, not to pinpoint.
Wonderful, wonderful, Sushil. With that, I think we'll stop since I have exceeded the time. And I hope that you all can build, like Ashish says, see this, all these are based on the slide I have highlighted. Our beliefs make us what we are. Many times because of the circumstances in which we grow up, where a lot of negativity is there, we also become negative. I am myself a very prime example of that. And till I was able to shed some of that, I was not able to become successful. But once I have this thought process, I know that if I change my belief, then I can become powerful. I have then been able to change many beliefs of mine, and the result is very much before all of you. You would also have experienced it. My team leaders would have experienced, Ashish would have experienced, all of us would have experienced. So all the best for you. You have understood, I
Sir,
think. Yeah. Okay. You
just
can
to show
summarize
one
and close.
gratitude. No, I'm just saying for you, finally you need to summarize. I have been listening you since last 10 years, but I could rate your today's discussion and session in one of the best out of top, I would say top 3 of my entire hearing or any interaction with you.
Thank you very much. We'll close with that. Have a nice Sunday. Bye. Bye, everybody.